So after my cousin took these papers down to this lawyer, they said they want to talk to me. Now I'm trying to figure out my mom's stuff. At that point I had called a lawyer seeing if I could sue the hospital because I'm 100% sure they did not help my mom the way they should have. If they had done an emergency colonoscopy, they probably, if there was some kind of tear or something, they probably could have cauterized it and my mom would be here right now. So that's what was on my mind. I knew I had to do this other stuff, but I was just trying to take one day at a time with no money, trying to get her a memorial service, trying to get her a funeral mass, trying to do everything I could with nothing. Just what was left on my credit cards that I'd already used just to get her cremated, to get her out of the hospital. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. I didn't do anything the way you're supposed to. We're Catholic. I couldn't afford that stuff. There was no, of course, she didn't have life insurance. She didn't want to talk about end of life stuff. So here we are. Here I am in this situation with no help and nobody, no money, no nothing, no job, no nothing, no friends, no nothing. And this person, this cousin of mine, brings these papers down to the guy my mother, she says my mother told her to, which it does make sense if she spoke to her, but if she did, I don't know why she didn't take those papers down there when my mother was still alive. She takes them down there. The lawyer, um, the lawyer that my mom thought she would talk to is really old. He's in his 90s now. My mom was 84. People don't understand that everybody gets older. Um, so there's another lawyer there who kind of takes over everything. And they call me in there, and I think they're going to ask me questions about my aunt. You know, and when I get there, they have my mom's stuff, my mom's house and everything. Like I was going to them for that. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not ready to do this. You know, I wasn't. I thought I was here to answer questions about my mother's sister. I didn't think they were trying to. So I was like backing up because I felt like I was being ambushed. You know, but they were asking me all these questions because there was this insurance policy that had my mother's name on it. You know, so my mom probably should have got that money, like I said, before she died. Anyway, so whatever happens, the lawyer's doing all this stuff like that. So I finally did my mom's stuff. I did whatever I could. I was getting everything done. And then I said, you know what? I can't wait. I can't wait till I figure this out. There's this lawyer down there. He says there's this money. I can't afford to pay a lawyer my own. I can't go to legal aid. I don't necessarily like this guy, but I don't have a choice. I don't know. All this probate stuff I try to look up, I can't figure it out on my own. Anybody I call to try to get information, they would either say they didn't know, or tell me call somebody else, or tell me that they couldn't answer me because it was legal advice. So I was stuck, and then I gave up, and I went to this person to help me do this probate thing. So I don't remember signing anything, but I don't think you have to. I think if you just give them money to do things, that means. So these people had started a GoFundMe for me that really didn't end up with anything, but there was enough for me to give the lawyer the money to start the probate process. I guess they got to file some papers, and the fee is like $750. So they did that. So then I started the process. But I told him that I said I was afraid of them kicking me out of the house because I needed someone to live. And he's like, they won't kick you out of the house. But I had no intention of living here because I didn't think I could. This is a huge house. Like I said, it's falling apart. Anything can go wrong at any time. We never had insurance. I don't have money if anything was to break. And like I said, I didn't have money to live here. I didn't have that. But every time I went to this man, he said I had to live there for a year because the probate thing takes a year. Because she left no will, the house would not go into my name for a year. So I looked up stuff on my own, and it said that, that's because when somebody dies and they maybe have debts or whatever, or they have you have to set up an estate for them, you have to allow a year for anybody out there in the world to make a claim on the estate, like say, oh no, that house belongs to me, I'm the long lost kid, or whatever. Or somebody who they owe a debt can say, well, we want to be paid out of the estate if there's money, or if there's a house or whatever, right? They'll put a lien on the house if there's no money. So that money from my aunt's um, insurance policy went into my mother's estate. I can't touch it. I can't use it to survive. The only thing is that the house bills can be paid, and the lawyer did all this instead of me having the ability to pay the bills and stuff like that. He did it, and I realize now that he did these things that way so that I would have to keep going to him in order for him to charge me more because of how people are. And so he kept telling me that I had to stay here for a year. I had to stay here for a year. Then all of a sudden one day he's like, "Oh, you don't want to stay there?" After I told him every time, I can't live in that house. I don't have money. I can't live in that house. I have my own credit card bills. I need to pay them or I'm going to be in bad trouble. I told him over and over. And he's like, "You have to live there for a year. You have to live there for a year." Then all of a sudden one day he's like, "Oh, you wanted to sell the house? Well, I'll send a guy over." And it was like, what? It was like if I had to do everything according to him. Suddenly that day, he was like, "Oh no, I'll send a guy over." It was like he just controlled everything, took control of everything, made me very upset. But I didn't know what to do. And I would try to get information from other people. And again, it's legal advice, it's legal advice. Somehow I became controlled by this person, having the reins on everything when I was supposed to be the one in charge, but he took control and he did it in such a way that I had to keep going back to him and keep going back to him when I could have done these things on my own. But he did that so he would keep getting paid. So the house was a mess. Like I said, it's not in a sellable condition. I would have to sell it to Yucky Houses people. What I understood was when he made me fill out the forms for the inventory, he had them put down the amount of how the house is supposed to be worth that they go for taxes. If I sold this house, I would never get anywhere close to the amount of money that is. But now that thing was in there, I started to realize if I try to sell the house to the Yucky Houses people, the court won't let me because I would have taken whatever they gave me just so that I could try to pay my own bills and survive, and find a way out. And I realized there was no way that a court would say, based, on what it's supposed to be worth compared to what I would get for it, that was enough to settle, or I didn't believe so anyways. Then I, was trying to clean up. I was trying to put the things I wanted to take with me into storage little by little, trying to do whatever I could. Day by day, with no money, taking the bus, with bags of stuff to put in storage, my DVDs and stuff that I collected over the years, nothing worth anything, just my junk, my high school ring, autographs I had, stuff like that meant stuff to me, that I'd want to take if I continued on in this life. And I did that little by little, and then the pandemic happened. When the pandemic happened, right away I got sick. Not pandemic sick, I didn't think. I got stomach sick. And I had gone to these people to try to get help to get away from this lawyer, and they made me go to the doctors first. Like, in order to be in some program that they thought might help me, they made me go to the doctor. So I had registered with doctors. When I hate going to the doctors, I don't like the way they do things after everything I'd been through with the hysterectomy and stuff. But then right after I had gone to these people for help, trying to get some kind of help to get away from this lawyer, the program they put me in, I guess, would have helped me to get a different lawyer because I had no money. I had to go to the doctor first, and I think it might have been a program for older people. It just didn't make sense. When I thought about it, I didn't fit in the program. But anyway, the pandemic was just starting to happen, and I got sick.